Today we're going to be talking about Perfect Order, guys. Perfect Order is a set that releases in 20 days. If the moment, I guess, depends when you're watching this, but I'm recording this on the 7th. So I think the 27th is the release date of Perfect Order this month in March. And we're going to be talking about the price movement of this box, of this set, because it is actually interesting what had happened with this set. I might be late to this news, but we're going to talk about it anyways because I haven't made any Pokemon content or any Pokemon investing. I don't know. I'm going to be making some investment content. So we're going to see what kind of plays that we can draw out, what conclusions we can make, and see if it works out in the end. Note that I'm not going to be maybe doing the same thing. I'm not going to be doing what I'm saying. So please don't, take this as, you know, concrete evidence and concrete facts to, go ahead and make a decision based off the information. Uh, because I just want to see, like, I want to look back at the videos, or look back at this and say, oh wow, like, was I right or was I wrong, was I miscalculating or something like that. Because again, no one's perfect, no one's going to get every one thing 100% right, but we can look at certain data and we can make some inferences. So it's going to be interesting, guys, because this is really interesting. So Mega MEO3 Perfect Order, the newest set of the mainline series in Mega Evolution, people were calling it buns. People were not liking the set. People were calling it trash. It was a weak set. It's the battle styles of sort of Mega Evolution era. It's Paradox Rift or Stellar Crown. I don't know, whatever the thing is called. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's interesting what happened. So as you can see, I think the market has determined that its value. I think that this shows us, the evidence shows us that the bull run is still gonna keep going, even though people are saying, oh, the set's crashing, or you know all this, that, and the third. But I think my inference is that because we are rotating out of the, I think, G block, or the first half of the Scarlet and Violet era, um, out of rotation, is going out of rotation. 151 is going out of rotation as well. We saw that the run up of that set has increased majorly. With all the 151 cards, the singles, the sealed product, and that's a sign that people, or investors, or people that are speculating, or you know, it's kind of like the stock market in a way. I guess Pokemon is evolving a little bit more in that fashion about where the money's going, just to I guess accommodate for higher returns. Again, like I said, this is a children's card. This is a trading card games, but now it's being treated as something else. Which, okay, you do you, but it's alright. If you want to treat it like that, then that's fine. Because again, you could capitalize on it, and if you want to make those plays, if you want to make those, if you want to be a swing trader, day trader, whatever, that's basically the term. That's how you can coin it. But what I'm seeing in this short term, mid term volatility, whatever, we're seeing that because of the run ups, because of the rotations, because of the out of print sets that have staggered, all the older sets have staggered. There's probably like a few plays you could have made. One Piece is crashing, guys. Um, other TCGs aren't as strong. Maybe they have had their run ups, but like I said, the money is wanting to invest. People with the big bucks. If someone had 30K liquid cash, or liquid monies to play around with, Pokemon, it's kind of like a penny stock. Instead of investing in penny stocks, you invest in Pokemon Sealed, or you pre-order, or you buy out certain things. If you had, what, 10K, 20K, 30K, imagine that. Imagine people with higher amounts of capital. This is what they're going to be doing. So this video is intended for, I guess, investors, or people that want to know why certain things are happening. Again, I like to preface that this is a children's cardboard game, so like there's no correlation, but there is. Nostalgianomics says it best. People are deeming the product worthy. So because I think what has happened with this box, this is the newest set, guys, and typically what happens is that the newer sets, they go down in price, which had happened right as we get to release. They go down in price, they go down even more, and it stabilizes, and then people buy it up again because the first wave's out. There's no more booster boxes. All these sorts of things, and we also see that with the singles. But what interestingly enough, the boxes crashed all the way to 190, 194, 195, and basically last month, and people were buying them up. You can see the volume, people were buying them up, and now it's at 250. Basically 250, guys. Let's see the sales data. People are buying it almost at 250, guys. So, like I said, people are buying this because why? Because you know, again, this is a weak set, quote unquote. I do like it. I do enjoy it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna want it for my sealed collection, for my sealed booster box collection of the mega sets. So I do intend on picking this up. But I definitely want to open it. I want to rip the packs. I want to, I want to do everything as a collector would. But the investors, people that want to move their money, that are cycling cash in this hobby, by the hundreds of thousands or maybe even more, even if a small amount, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, that's a lot of money, but it's doable. If you have extra cash lying around, you could do these plays. If you had 1,000, you could. But like I said, everybody's different. But this Pokemon hobby is so big, and I've gotten so crazy with the bull run that it's already baked in that people with high amounts of liquid cash that are able to do this, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna find ways to preserve and cycle their money in this hobby, either through One Piece, through Pokemon, sneakers, whatever they want to have to cycle their money through. So they're cycling their money right now with Perfect Order, and that's why you see this run up, because a lot of people at this price point, this is the cheapest booster box at this 190, 200 was the cheapest booster box prices you could have gotten so far in the entire year and a half already, almost. Because like I said, you can't get anything at MSRP, bots are buying it out, all these sorts of things. And so this money right here, let's say you bought it at 196 and now it's at 250, right? You just made $50 per box, you know and then I don't know, I'm not saying, but the thing is, that's the short term play, I guess. I don't know why people would do this, but it's whatever. But or investors would do this, but I also do think that collectors probably bought this out. I don't know, it's very hard to say, but because it's a cheap box, you don't have to wait in line, you don't have to camp out at your local LGS for 14 hours like I have done as well. I've done it twice already. It's not time baked in. You're wasting time and money unless you've already paid it off or have vacation or time off, whatever. So 200 price point seems best for this set, and it's a good set, and it's a collectible set. So 250, and so that's really interesting. I'm not sure what's gonna happen after the release of this set. Typically, all the sets go down, so it could just go down again, or it could rise up. I don't even know. Maybe is this a new Destin Rivals, bro? But I'm not saying that it is. But we can see Japanese. That Japanese has crashed, and again, this is not normal MSRP for these MSR. Comparing it to retail and stuff, this is still above the those prices. But as we can see in the Japanese side of things, we see that the cards are cool. This is the MAMUR Mega Ultra Rare. It's kind of crashed. I don't really know. There's not really much sales. Haven't been much sales going on because again, I don't. People don't really collect Japanese. People collect Japanese, but not as much often. There's very low sell volumes here. Because again, Japanese is something that people don't. This isn't really a popular set because you can see the cards aren't really as crazy. I mean, there's these Octofables, the Zygardes, the Rosa, the Meowth is sort of kind of cool, I guess. I mean, it is a SIR, but it does look like a full art to me. I mean, probably not in person, but like it looks like this. This is the same card, right? But this one's SIR. They look the same, and it's not really strong set. It doesn't really look like something that people would want to chase and stuff. But like I said, I don't know. I'm not the collector. I can't say for certain, but it doesn't look like Mega Perfect Evolution is a good set. So I don't really know. Let me know why this box price is like the way it is, because it doesn't make sense to me. In all honesty, if I think it will be popular. I think people will buy it out. I don't think it's going to be sitting on the shelves. But if people are buying this out at booster boxes, I don't know what they're going to do with those because not a lot of people probably bought this. Maybe it was one person, two people, who knows, but it doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense. I don't see why this would this doesn't make sense to me. Um the only way I do think it will go down, but it could go up. But like I said, you could this isn't the stock market where you can make shorts, people buy their calls down here and then they short it at the top. You can't do that in Pokemon. You're buying products. So this is very interesting. Are people gonna long term hold perfect order? My guess is probably not. My guess is maybe. I don't know. Should you buy this? Because if we look at Ascended Heroes, honestly, I don't know. It's really weird. Then I think it's very very interesting because this Ascended Heroes has gone down. So does it make sense why this box would go down? Because like I said, maybe Perfect Order only has one print wave. Is that the thing? Is that the case? Are people betting that this only has one wave and there is no second wave coming? Like I said, if we look at Phantasmal Flames, it's at a higher price point right now, which is crazy. But like I said, a couple months ago, the set released on the 27th, I believe, or something around there, and it dropped. It dropped all the way down, and then we had the second wave somewhere around here. Then it picked back up, you know. But that's very interesting. Very interesting why this happens with this box. I'm not sure. Perfect Order Mega Evolution Trainer box. I don't know. Pokemon is kind of. Is this irrational, guys? Because I feel like it is. I feel like this is an irrational movement based on these price points, and I don't know. Maybe people are speculating. Maybe people are overextending themselves. Who knows? I don't know. But like I said, time will tell. It's still too early to say. Once you get the release date, it will definitely have its price movements either up or down. But most likely, as we have seen, it'll go down. Except Destined Rivals. I think Destined Rivals went down or it went up and it stayed there, and then it went super up. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Like and let me know. I can try to make other content plays or something like that to see how you can I guess make your monies in these things. I don't know. I'm tripping, but let's go. So thank you guys. Bye bye.